Thank you for tuning in to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Whether you're listening during your commute, while working out, or just relaxing at home, we appreciate you. Every download, every listen, and every subscription means a lot. Up next, the 12 Kyle podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. Man, check this out. On this episode, you see the title, Just Dunk It. I want to talk a little bit about the NBA. I normally don't talk about current events. And at the time of this recording, we just got past the quote unquote halfway point for the NBA season. They just recently celebrated the All-Star game at the time of this recording a week ago, right? Full disclosure, I did not watch a minute of All-Star weekend. I did not sit in front of the TV. I did not pull it up on my computer. I haven't watched an All-Star game probably in the last 3 years. So it's going to sound kind of crazy and maybe a little bit hypocritical for me to talk about something that I wasn't even participating in. But I speak and want to speak from the perspective of a NBA fan. Now that I am a huge NBA fan. My favorite team is the Atlanta Hawks, hometown team. Maybe at some point in time in my lifetime, we'll win a championship. But I love the game of basketball. I love watching basketball. And I'm someone who's watched the NBA literally since 1980. I can tell you about a time in my lifetime. I'm 52 years old, but I can tell you about a time in my lifetime where the NBA games were not televised live. They were on tape delay. I remember that. I was a fan. And then I can remember in 1980, the emergence of two guys who really and truly saved the NBA in Irvin Magic Johnson and Larry Joe Bird. But this is not about them, and it's not a trip about nostalgia, or a trip down nostalgia road, if you will. I want to read to you something that was said, and it was actually tweeted by one of the NBA's stars, one of their biggest stars. Kevin Durant sent out a tweet, and the tweet reads as follows, quote, "I think it's more fun to complain about the NBA than it is to actually watch it. Crazy. Cancel All-Star Weekend. And let's just give everybody a break since we're so miserable around this time." Close quote. So Kevin Durant, one of probably the best players to have ever played this game, and definitely one of the faces of the league at this particular time, is jokingly, I'm assuming, suggesting that they not just cancel the All-Star game, but cancel the entire weekend. And I'll be honest, whether or not he was joking or not, he's actually on to something. I think that it's really time that we have a conversation about whether or not this should continue in the manner in which it's continuing. Again, I was someone who always looked forward to All-Star Weekend as a child, but keep in mind, in my age and my wisdom and my fandom, I grew up watching 80s basketball. I grew up watching 90s basketball. So you don't have to be an NBA fan to understand what I saw on All-Star Weekend. I saw some of the best, just like no different from today. Today's athletes, these are the best of the best basketball players that the NBA has to offer. However, the NBA over the last 10 years has done all that is possibly they've done all that they could do basically to try to save what was once a very heralded weekend and make it something that is enjoyable to watch and participate in. I don't know how fun it is to watch because, again, I haven't watched in a few years, but it doesn't look and sound to me like it's been a lot of fun for some of these guys to participate with. Today's NBA players, particularly those who make the All-Star team, now some are in situations where contractually, if they make the All-Star team, it's added incentives to their contracts. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. The flip side of it is that contractually, while they make the All-Star game, they also have other obligations. So All-Star weekend, which usually starts on Friday, it goes from Friday to Sunday for those who make the All-Star team, is not really as much fun as you may think it is. And that's simply put because the players are being pulled in several different directions. A lot of these NBA players have other business ventures. They have corporate sponsorships that they're in business with. They have parties that they have to attend All-Star weekend. And then there's the thing of the game, right? On Sunday night. And from what I can tell, based on comments and interviews and things of that nature that I've heard over the years, is that these guys that make the All-Star team, they're pulled in several different directions. And understand this when I say this. That's the price of fame. This is partly what you signed up for to play for professional basketball. And this is partly what you sign up for when you're one of the best 24 players in the NBA, right? I think it's 24. So that is par for the course. It comes with the job description, basically. But they are pulled in a lot of different directions. And for some, it can be a lot. And by the time Sunday night rolls around, these guys really aren't interested in playing a game. And then over the years, the game has evolved to where it has become less and less competitive. And the NBA and the powers that be, Commissioner Adam Silver, as well as the NBA brass, has tried to, over the last few years, convey to the players that, hey, we want you guys to make this something that's competitive. It has to be competitive because it has to be something that the audience wants to, if they can't attend, at least watch. It has to be a good for TV product. The problem is that basketball ratings are down with the NBA compared to the last couple of years. And that was even before we got to the All-Star weekend. And so there's a conflict here. You have athletes that are being pulled in different directions and they don't really value or at least it doesn't appear. I can't speak for any athletes. It appears that the NBA All-Stars, the guys who get selected to the team, are being pulled in different directions and they're not wanting to be competitive. Because think about it like this. If you go out and get hurt in an All-Star game, which rarely happens, but if you go out and get hurt in an All-Star game, then what? You still have the better part of 30 games left in the regular season plus the playoffs. So you're no good to your team if you're injured, right? The other side of the coin is this is a business. And NBA players can't forget that this is a business. This is what pays your multi-million-dollar contract. It's eyes on TV screens. It's butts in seats. That's how you get paid. Now, you're getting paid for your talent. Don't get me wrong. And as you should. I will never begrudge anybody who gets money, particularly these people who are the best at what they do. If you're the best in your profession and people are willing to spend $1,000 to come sit and watch you play basketball, damn right you should get $50 million a year or $60 million or 70 or whatever your talent will allow you to be compensated for. I'm a firm believer in the players getting paid because the owners get paid, right? The other side of the coin is that it's a business. So you can't have the money without the work, and you got to put in the work. And while they've worked to get to this point, the All-Star weekend is about a show. It is your chance to showcase your talents. It is your chance for the NBA to showcase you. But over the years, things have really not gone well. And from a viewer's perspective, like I said, as a fan, I can't speak to what happened the last couple of years, but in years past, it's not the same. And there's a myriad of things that have changed the game over a period of time, but it's just not the same. When I tune into a basketball game, I want to see a competitive game if you want me to sit and watch it. It doesn't matter if the All-Star game or if it's, Cleveland versus Utah. As boring as that may sound, I'm a fan of the game, so I will sit and watch. But even a diehard basketball fan like myself, if I'm being honest with you, at the time of this recording, I can only think of maybe 2 basketball games outside of my Atlanta Hawks that I've watched this year, where I've watched from start to finish. Now I'll watch, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And if you follow the podcast, about a month or so ago, I had my homies D Love Hall and Easy Does It, my boy Zell, on, and we talked about what was wrong with the NBA. And Zell made a good point. He said that, and I'm paraphrasing here, something to the effect of, like, he doesn't have as much time to sit and watch a game, but he will pull it up on YouTube. If a game happens on Friday night, he'll pull it up Saturday morning. And instead of having to watch a 2.5 hour game, he can pull it up on YouTube and watch clips. And the clips will, 10 minutes worth of clips where it's already been cut up and spliced for his entertainment by the NBA. And he's able to watch the game like that and enjoy the game and know what the score was and see all the highlights. And the NBA does this for its fans. So the NBA has to kind of figure out, like, okay, are we trying to dominate the social media presence, or do we really want eyes in front of TVs or watching on iPads or what have you, or computer screens? So the NBA is in flux as well, because there's a new TV deal I'm sure that many of you heard about, a multi-billion-dollar deal, and with these networks and everything. So not even the same packaging that we once had is going to be. There was a point in time, like I mentioned earlier, when I first started watching basketball, it was just on CBS. The NBA was on CBS, and then it moved to NBC, and then ultimately ESPN, ABC, and TNT got the package. And now I think going forward, it's going to be like I don't even think it's going to be on TNT. It's going to be like ESPN, Amazon, NBC. So even some of the announcers, some of the game shows that we have grown to love, we're going to see changes. So, and there's going to be changes on the floor as well, because there's always changes on the floor. But what is going to get people to sit and watch it? I go back to the All-Star game. There's not really anything compelling, to make me want to sit and watch that, particularly if I don't see a game. And it looks, I can't say this definitively, but from afar, it looks like the players are not into it. Well, listen, if you're not into it and it's your job, why should I show up and watch you bullshit your way through a game? I got other things that I can do. I have 2 podcasts. I could be podcasting, which is what I was doing during the All-Star game last week. I could be podcasting. I could be reading a book. I could be asleep. And here's the thing. Like I said, I love the NBA. I'm not one of those fans where when my team gets knocked out of the playoffs or if my team doesn't make the playoffs that I don't watch. No, I continue to watch because I enjoy the games. Now, I'll be honest, given the fact that I'm in Atlanta, I'm not staying up to watch, the Lakers versus OKC from LA. I'm not staying up in January and February to watch a West Coast game, because those games don't go off until like 12:30, 1 o'clock my time. I'm not losing sleep for that. Now, come playoff time, I'll stay up and watch the games because the games are always good and they're compelling. But All-Star weekend, maybe Kevin Durant's on to something. He just might be on to something. Right now it's time for a commercial break. On the other side of the break, we'll talk a little bit more about what Katie had to say. Sit tight. I'll be back in just a second. Are you feeling nostalgic for the golden eras of rap and soul music? If so, tune in to the Rap Soul Podcast. We are your weekly journey through the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, spotlighting the music and the hidden gems that shaped the soundtrack of our lives. From the powerful beats to the soulful melodies, we bring you the best of the past
with fresh insights and stories. Rediscover the music that defined a generation. Subscribe to the Rap Soul Podcast and enjoy the vibes.
And just like that, we are back. Once again, it's your boy 12 Kyle. This is the 12 Kyle Podcast, and we're talking about the NBA. Just dunk it. I'm talking about something that was proposed maybe lightheartedly by the NBA's Kevin Durant of just canceling All-Star Weekend altogether. I think there's something to that, and the reason why I say that is because if you look at the All-Star Weekend in its totality, you have the rookie game, the Rising Stars. I think that's on Friday nights. That is kind of like an introduction to you watching some of the newer players that you may not know. That's tough to do because there's no pipeline between college basketball and the NBA anymore. Back in the day, players would stick around in college for 2, 3, sometimes 4 years, and they turned out to be okay. The further back you go, the longer guys stayed in college. Now, some guys can bypass that year of college and maybe go to the G League, or they will go to college for a year and then come out and become pros. I'm not against that, but a lot of them just aren't ready. And as I mentioned, so you've got that. So there's really not a connection between the fans, other than maybe a rookie playing for your favorite team or a second year player playing for your favorite team. And then you have the Saturday night features where you have the 3-point shootout, the skills competition, and the slam dunk contest. I'm not going to go into a rant about the slam dunk contest. I will say congrats to Matt McClung, who won the slam dunk contest. This is his 3rd consecutive year winning. I saw on Twitter the 3 dunks that he had that were incredible. They were really good dunks. I'm not taking anything away from him because I can't dunk, right? But if we're being honest, let's just keep it real. You're not gonna see a dunk more often than not. You're not gonna see a dunk in an NBA slam dunk contest that you've never seen before. What we're seeing is just variations of the same dunk. Again, no disrespect to Matt McClung, but it's kind of easy for someone to dunk a ball if someone's holding it up near the rim. He had one dunk where he dunked 2 basketballs. Somebody was holding the balls up near the rim. And don't get me wrong. Again, it takes supreme skill to make that happen. That being said, it's totally different from Larry Nance or Dr. J in 1984 going up with 2 basketballs in their arms and dunking them simultaneously. Different type of skill. And I'll be honest, and there's no bigger fan of Michael Jordan than me. Jordan probably ruined the dunk contest. People say it's LeBron for not. No, I don't. LeBron should have at least tried, but LeBron doesn't strike me as a slam dunk contest dunker. He's more of an in-game dunker. But Jordan ruined it. And I say that jokingly, but Jordan ruined it because once Michael Jordan took off from the free throw line, I mean, like, what else was there to do? I mean, you're not going to take off from the 3-point line. And the NBA had guys use props and bringing other people into it and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, I guess it's entertaining for those who want to be entertained, but the slam dunk contest just it's not there anymore. And unless you're going to bring people off the street who probably are the ones who could show you some dunks that we've never seen before, unless you're going to bring people off the street, then you really probably shouldn't have a slam dunk contest, to be honest, in the NBA. And let's be honest, since we're being honest, Matt McClung is someone off the street. Matt McClung, I don't even know his stats, but I remember Matt McClung at Georgetown. Most of you don't even know that he went to Georgetown, right? But I will say this. Matt McClung, as a 3-time slam dunk champion, he's spent more time at All-Star Weekend than he has in an NBA game. I don't, without looking at his stats, I don't know what his stats are, but I don't know that he's played in 7 NBA games. And yet the NBA keeps bringing him back and then sending him back to the G League. It's a waste, man. It's a waste of time. And again, this is no disrespect. Salute to that brother for the dunk contest that he's won. And I'm not expecting Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine. I'm not expecting Vince Carter versus everybody. I'm not expecting, Michael Jordan to come back. Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, is not coming back to a slam dunk contest to perform. So the thing is, you're not going to get the stars. And I saw a tweet from Ja Morant saying I should get in the dunk. Ja Morant, you're not getting in the dunk contest. Be honest. Because here's the thing. If you wanted to be in a dunk contest, you probably would have done it by now, right? Nobody wants to see, as for as great a dunker as Zion Williamson used to be, nobody wants to see Zion Williamson go dunk in a dunk contest and then be out for the next 6 weeks because he broke his pinky toe. Nobody wants to see that. So it's like, it may be time. And then again, the 3-point shootout, I think, has kind of saved the All-Star weekend, at least from what I've seen. I've actually seen those. I didn't see it this year, but I've seen over the last couple of years. But no, it's between the slam dunk contest and the actual All-Star game where they're not participating, they're not really playing hard. And the one thing I kept hearing was, oh, it was a little bit more competitive this year. Listen, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the league, had to have a meeting with the All-Star players to remind them to be competitive. Listen, man, that's like your principal coming into your classroom telling you, hey, make sure that you're good for the substitute, because when I leave this room, I don't want any of your shenanigans. What are we doing, man? These are grown men. And again, I am super cool with having the All-Star experiences that I've had. I've actually attended All-Star Weekend before once when it was here in Atlanta. I'll never do that again, but I'm not bitter about it. It was just way too much. But I saw some great All-Star games. I saw some great All-Star performances. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. Check out my shirt. It's my man Bubba Chuck on my T-shirt here. Allen Iverson, the #1 draft pick in 1996. I saw him go against one of his competitors in 1996, a guy by the name of Kobe Bean Bryant. They were in the same draft class. And I remember that All-Star weekend. It wasn't 96. I think it was 2001. I think either 2001 or 2002. Someone will correct me. But nonetheless, that was a very competitive All-Star game. And that's the last really competitive one that I can remember. If somebody's got to tell you to be competitive, it's not worth it. And we saw this happen with the NFL. If you look across, the major sports leagues, I'm not really sure. I know what hockey does, but I can't tell you that I've actually sat and watched the hockey All-Star weekend. Major League Baseball comes close. I think Major League Baseball they're probably as close as what you can get to being competitive, because you can't fake, 100-mile-an-hour fastball thrown at your neck. You can't fake it. Like you either got to swing or you got to get the hell out the way. There's no in between. And at one point in time, Major League Baseball said, well, look, not only we're going to make this competitive, but we're going to make the winner, whichever conference wins the All-Star game, that's going to be the conference that gets home field advantage in the World Series. So imagine the American League winning over the National League in the Major League All-Star game weekend, and then the Yankees going to the World Series and having home field advantage, not just because they beat another team to get there, but because the American League won in the All-Star weekend. They did that for a couple of years, and I thought it was interesting. I don't necessarily know that would work in the NBA because of I guess it's the same premise, but it's really not fair to Oklahoma City if they win 70 games and nobody else won 65 games. Everybody else is like 65 games or less, and they win the West and they can't have home court advantage for the finals. just because the East beat the East beat the West in the All-Star weekend. So I'm really kind of getting with Kevin Garnett on this one. When I think about the NFL, the Pro Bowl used to be a thing. The Pro Bowl was the NFL's All-Star weekend. It used to happen right the week after the Super Bowl. And if you made the Pro Bowl, that was a thing. You and your family would fly out. They would fly you out to Hawaii for a week. You chill and get a chance to meet players from other teams and everything like that. I only know because my uncle played in the National Football League for 13 years, and he made 9 Pro Bowls. His name is Harry Carson from the New York Giants. He is a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He spent all 13 years with the Giants. He went to 9 Pro Bowls in Hawaii. Unfortunately, I never made it to Hawaii, but that's another story for another day. I love my uncle. But yeah, I mean, so like that was the thing, to go to the Pro Bowl. And then the game stopped being competitive, and the NFL was like, wait a minute, we spending all this money on you guys. You guys, like, I remember one time I was watching a Pro Bowl and a receiver was coming across the middle and he caught a pass and the defensive back hit him and he just kind of held him up and they kind of danced a little bit like they were on the dance floor. It wasn't football. I mean, like, you don't even do that shit in practice. So I think when it got to that point, when defensive linemen would rush the quarterback and they kind of just tap him and stuff, it wasn't football at that point. It wasn't even flag football. And the NFL basically said, all right, well, look, we're going to take this out of Hawaii. We're not going to do this. We're not going to bring you guys back to Hawaii anymore. We're going to take it to Orlando. We'll put it in the week in between the championship games and the Super Bowl, and we'll make it like a skills competition weekend. You'll be recognized for making the Pro Bowl, but it won't be anything about football because the biggest concern was guys didn't want to get hurt during the Pro Bowl. But football is a game that you can't fake. You can't fake running full speed through somebody. Like, it has to happen if you're really playing football. Basketball, you can kind of fake it. You can shoot from half court. You can have 85 slam dunks in a game. You don't have to play any defense. You can be out there and literally just dog it. And I think that's what the NBA has done. And so at this point, it's like the NFL did. The NFL still has a Pro Bowl weekend, and there's some people who really do attend, and there's some people who really do watch. There's no way in hell I'd sit and watch a Pro Bowl, even if I can't even say that. There's no way I'm watching a Pro Bowl. Now it's flag football. I'm not watching that. Why would I sit and watch a flag football game? What am I, 7? No, I'm not doing that. No disrespect to anybody that does, but just for me, that ain't my get down. There's other things that I can do. And I think that's the thing that these sports leagues, the NBA in particular, have to figure out, is that you have these generational type athletes like LeBron and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. And so they're going to garner some attention. But the difference is that when you get people to come and sit in front of a TV or sit in front of a computer screen and sit and watch your product, it's one thing to get them there. Can you keep them there? And we live busy lives. And that's not to say we weren't busy in 95, but people are moving around. People, think about your viewing habits right now. How many people do you know have cable TV? I don't know any. I only know a handful of people that still have cable TV. Most of us have cut the cord when it comes to cable. We have streaming platforms and we use those, and that's how we watch TV. I'll be honest. Sports is the only thing that I watch live. I don't even watch whatever the favorite TV shows are. I don't watch NBC, on Monday nights for what was the show I used to watch? Not Scandal. The Blacklist. Not that the Blacklist still comes on TV, but you get my point. Like, there's no must-see TV for me. It's only sports. That's the only thing that I watch live. And my viewing habits have changed, and so has the general public. And so, going back to Kevin Durant, I don't think that this is a bad idea. I think the NBA is going to have to move closer to that needle because ratings are down and there's nothing that you're doing that is going to have more people come and watch what you're doing, particularly if they think that you're dogging it. And this year, I understand they changed the format. And they had like separate teams, and it was like 4 different teams, and they played to 40. But I saw a meme. Well, actually, it was a statistic. Like of the 3.5 hour program, there was only 30 minutes of basketball. So like they'd play a game, then they'd stop, they'd have a break, and then they might have a little concert in between. You're not keeping people's, attention span. People have very short attention spans. Not many people are going to sit and listen to a 40-minute podcast. That's just the reality of it. But I still give it to those who want it. I don't really have to change what I'm doing to satisfy, because the people who are here for me. And I think the NBA has to realize that the people that are there for them are dwindling. My boy Zell always talks about the fact that, and not to compare eras because eras are different, but when Michael Jordan played in his prime, his mom would watch Michael Jordan. She's not even a basketball fan, right? But she would sit and watch Michael Jordan get busy. And the same went for guys like Kobe, Kevin Garnett, like that. Even now with LeBron, Steph, KD, those guys have the ability to bring in the casual fan, bring in people who don't really normally watch basketball. And that's good. But the thing about it is LeBron's 40. I think Steph Curry's like 36, 37. Kevin Durant's probably around the same age. Those guys are aging out. What about this next crop of stars? Don't get me wrong. I like watching guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But, it's, does he do something to make, somebody who doesn't watch basketball sit and watch him for an extended period of time? You have to say, even like the world champions from Boston, Jason Tatum is a cold basketball player, but Jason Tatum, personality wise, he doesn't do anything to make me say, oh man, let me see what Jason Tatum's going to do tonight. I will watch Jason Tatum play a playoff game, but I'm not breaking my schedule to watch Jason Tatum play against the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm not. Why would I do that? So in conclusion, I think the NBA is at a crossroads. They have to understand who their fans are and how is the best way to serve them. I think you can keep trying to tinker with what you have, or you can just scrap the whole thing. Just dunk it. At this point, the slam dunk might be better than what you're trying to do, because people have to be invested. And from the seat that I sit in, it appears to me that the fans care more than the players. And if the players don't care, you can never expect the fans to care. That's going to do it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We drop episodes each week, every Thursday at midnight. From time to time, we drop episodes on Sundays at midnight as well. Those are the bonus episodes. If you're on social media, hit us up. 12 Kyle podcast on Twitter X, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. If you'd like to contribute financially, hit us up on Cash App, $TWELVEKYLE. We also have merch. Look in the description box. There's a link that says merch. Click that link. You can order 12 Kyle podcast t-shirts, hoodies, as well as coffee mugs. We got it for the low. And we have a new baby. I need you guys, particularly if you are music fans, we have a new baby. It's called the Rap Soul Podcast. It is the intersection where we have discussions about music and artists from the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. Trust me, it is the best music podcast that you've never heard. So check it out. And more importantly, share it with other people who are fans of music. You won't be disappointed. You got my word. So again, that's going to do it for me. I am your boy 12 Kyle with another edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Just telling you, this might be time to just dunk it. I think so. So does Kevin Durant. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. I'll catch you guys next time. 5 G's. Chill.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of the 12 Kyle podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and share this podcast with a friend who needs the 12 Kyle podcast in their life. Every listen, every download, and every share helps us grow. Thanks for being a part of the 12 Kyle podcast community. We appreciate your support. We will catch you next time. 5,000.